Rock and roll, when executed well, is a music about excess and expression. It's a music built on indulging oneself in emotion. That means intense hedonism, euphoric bliss, raw despair, and above all else, pure unbridled rage. From protests to pyrotechnics, from motorcycles to mosh pits, rock and its many offshoots have always celebrated that which is loud and destructive. And I think that no act better embodies this celebration of rage than the smashing of a guitar. Let's take a closer look. The history of smashing instruments dates back to long before the electric guitar was even a shadow of an idea. Hungarian pianist Franz Liszt was known to play his piano with such vigor that it would fall apart mid-performance. This dramatic performance style helped to spawn Listomania, one of the earliest examples of the kind of fan hysteria that would one day follow rock artists. More than a century later, a very different sort of pianist would take up destructive practices of his own. As rock music was exploding through the mid-50s, a pianist named Jerry Lee Lewis started to gain reputation as the wildest performer of the era. His shows roared with energy, and he played his pianos hard enough to make them creak and break. There's even legend that Lewis once set his piano on fire at a particular show. That story has proved to be little more than a tall tale, one that Lewis himself happily retold to build up his own mythology. Still, the wild antics of Jerry Lee Lewis served as a harbinger of things to come for the fledgling rock and roll movement. But playing pianos so hard they break is quite different than taking a guitar into your hands and smashing it. The nature of the piano as an instrument makes its destruction a little less dramatic than that of the guitar. It's one thing to bang on an enormous piece of wood that shakes, cracks, and vibrates. It's another thing entirely to grab an instrument by the neck, defy any right of its playing, and deliberately drive it toward the ground. There are some early examples of this kind of smashing with necked instruments. In his autobiography, country musician Charlie Louvin of the Louvin Brothers claims that his brother Ira used to smash out-of-tune mandolins. And in Jailhouse Rock, Elvis Presley's character smashes a guitar over a table out of rage at a noisy patron. While this depiction is fictional, it shows the reputation that many rock artists were getting by the late 50s. They were seen as fiery renegades with sharp tempers, ready to snap at a moment's notice, and unafraid of the laws of polite society. The guitarists of this era leaned into this reputation by borrowing their aesthetic from biker gangs and sabotaging their amps to create early distortion sounds. But the guitar smash as we know it still had yet to emerge. That wouldn't come about until 1964, when a young band called The Who were playing their regular gig at the Railway Club in London. Guitarist Pete Townshend accidentally hit his guitar against the club's low ceiling and cracked his headstock in the process. He recalled the incident in a 1968 interview with Rolling Stone. "It broke and it kind of shocked me because I wasn't ready for it to go. I didn't particularly want it to go, but it went. And I was expecting an incredible thing, it being so precious to me. I was expecting everybody to go, wow, he's broken his guitar, but nobody did anything, which made me kind of angry in a way, and determined to get this precious event noticed by the audience. I proceeded to make a big thing of breaking the guitar. I pounced all over the stage with it, and I threw bits on the stage." With that dramatic act of violence, Pete Townshend began a trend that lives on to this day. He expected the destruction to be a one-time thing, but word of Townshend's antics traveled fast in the British rock scene. He explained, "It kind of grew from there. We'd go to another town and people would say, 'Oh yeah, we heard that you smashed a guitar.' It built and built and built."